You may not have realized it, but it's a fact that most romantic interactions between you and a woman happen on your phone. So even if you have some women's contacts on your phone, even if you can start some conversations with women on Instagram or dating apps, if you don't know what to do after that, you will fail to turn these contacts with women into real dates. That's why I'm going to introduce you to 3 essential rules that you should consider when chatting with a woman online. They will completely change your interactions. Number 1, those who fall for games fail. If you can't understand this rule, then everything else will be lost. Let's agree that the most annoying part of texting with a girl is that they play games. They can do weird things like suddenly becoming dry, taking a long time to respond, or being engaged in the conversation and suddenly stopping. Anyway, the crucial point is, if you fall for her game, you will be definitively ignored. This is something that it seems like all guys struggle with. They don't know what to do when a woman seems to start losing interest in the conversation or acts strangely. Let me ask you a question. What is the most powerful text message a woman can send you, so that when she sends that message, you immediately start thinking things like, wow, I really want this woman. I need to send her more messages. I want her to message me back more. Think about it, be honest. There's a catch in this question, and the answer is, when she doesn't send you a message responding to your last message. Try to remember how your reaction was the last time a girl didn't reply to your last message in a conversation. You probably got anxious immediately. Your mind started thinking, what happened? Did I do something wrong? What message can I send her to get her to reply to me? Well, you have to realize that the same thing works the other way around. When you stop replying to a girl, that's the most powerful message you can send. I'm not telling you to start randomly not replying to women. What I'm saying is that when a girl tries to play games with you, gets cold and dry, or gives you the silent treatment, the only way to show her that what she did wasn't cool is by not sending her any more messages. In 99% of the cases, no message you could come up with will be as powerful as not sending any more messages. And this is justified for a few reasons. She will question if she did something wrong, or what she might have said that made you stop replying. She's used to guys who always reply no matter how she acts. This will make her realize that you're not like them. If before she thought that, because you were talking and being attentive, she already had won you over, and that you were already a sure date, now that you stopped replying, she will feel a sense of loss. And people always tend to value something more after they lose it. So this is the way to generate regret in her. I know it can be hard to not send her a message, because what comes to your mind is, I need to say something to her right now. Have self-control, brother. Hold back and don't send anything else. I guarantee you that many of these situations where the woman starts to cool off, and her ego starts to increase, making you more likely to be rejected, by acting the way I explained, they tend to become pensive, wanting to talk to you again without playing games like before. Now it's a fact that the woman's pride will be the main obstacle for her to talk to you again. Many of them, deep down, even though they regret having treated you badly and even though they want to message you again, due to pride, they will resist. We also have to consider the fact that she certainly has other options. But what you have to understand is that her other options are not like you, and your value and qualities strongly influenced her to come back to you. Having more options of women makes you act correctly, not chasing after her and being okay with it. So have more options. Never put all your chips on one girl. That way you'll really be okay regardless of whether she comes back or not. Many women sooner or later end up contacting you. In my last experience with this, the woman stopped messaging me. I also stopped and practically dismissed her. After a few weeks, she sent me something on Instagram, starting a conversation as if nothing had happened. Number 2, you're not special. It's a fact that as human beings, we have this problem of only being able to see the world through our own perspective, and we only know our own experiences, and that kind of makes us think that our cases are special. Many times, when a friend shows me some conversation on their phone and asks me what they might have done wrong for that conversation to go wrong, I look at it and immediately say, it went wrong because you clearly broke some basic rules. You know you shouldn't do that, so why do you do it? And usually I hear, yeah, man, you wouldn't understand, because I knew this girl from work, or it's the girl from the gym, this woman is different from the others, or I'm not like other guys, so I didn't think those strategies would work for me. And so many guys don't respect some rules, make several mistakes, and don't get what they want with the woman. To be honest, I've broken some rules in the past because I used to think that I was a special case too. But there's a predictable dynamic with women, and respecting these rules is the best way to get what you want when talking to them. First of all, response time. If you're getting to know a woman and she takes an average of 30 minutes to an hour to respond to your messages, you need to wait at least 30 minutes to reply to her. If she takes 1 to 2 hours, you should wait at least 1 hour. This is a matter of not seeming desperate and treating her at the same level of priority. Second thing, especially in the first messages you send to a girl, prioritize using questions to make it easier for her to respond. Third point, message length. If on average her messages consist of just 1 or 2 lines, you can't be sending long texts to her. Try to also keep an average of 2 lines. Fourth point, don't keep sending duplicate messages. If you forgot to say something in the first message, it's okay, man, don't send any more. Take a deep breath and don't send it. If I asked you, have you ever lost a woman because while talking to her you sent way more messages than she did? I bet you have. You can probably think of a few cases in the last few months. It's common for guys to send too many messages and end up pushing the woman away. You get into a mentality like, if I send one more message, maybe she'll like me more and want to go out with me. And with that, you end up investing much more than the woman, which makes your value seem lower and makes the woman's value seem higher, and thus she loses attraction. Now, if I asked you, have you ever lost a woman you wanted because you sent fewer messages than her during the conversation? I bet you haven't. The truth is that your cases are not special. Human emotions and attraction follow a very predictable sequence, and sending fewer messages to a woman will always give you the best results. Rule number 3, have a purpose with the messages. Why do you message women really? Think about it. Do you message them because you simply want someone to talk to? Maybe you send messages because you like to have some female validation? Would you like to know if you would have a chance with her? Or maybe it's because you really would like to go out with her and who knows, you want it to turn into something more. Some guys don't realize it, but they send several purposeless messages just to chat or in search of attention and validation. And this way, without purpose, the conversation tends to go nowhere, which can make the girl bored and disinterested. This is one of the most important rules. Every message you send to a girl needs to have a purpose. Before sending a message, pause for a second and ask yourself what this message will induce or accomplish. If you can't think of a good answer, then don't send the message. I'll give you a little example so you understand what I'm saying. Let's say I met a girl at the gym and I got her WhatsApp or Instagram. Then, sometime later, I send her a message saying, "Hi, heavy lifting lady. How's it going?" This message is meant to start a conversation. She'll probably reply with something like, "Ha ha ha, I don't lift that heavy. I'm good, and you," with the purpose of continuing the conversation. Basically, there are 2 options. I can bring up the main topic we talked about at the gym. That would reignite the emotions we had during that gym conversation. Or another option I like to use is to use her question about how I'm doing and connect it to a topic. By doing that, I'd reply with something like, "I'm good, just a little anxious to finish the healthy chocolate cake I'm making. And you, what are you up to on this rainy Saturday?" She'd probably reply with something like, "Oh, do you know how to bake a cake in this rain? I'm just chilling at home, binge watching my Grey's Anatomy series." And I could say, "Yo, really? Don't tell me you're that kind of girl," just to tease her a bit. This message wouldn't really be necessary, there would be several other ways. Anyway, she'd probably reply with something like, "What kind?" or "No judgments." And I could reply with something like, "Haha, don't worry, I won't judge, especially without knowing you well. Speaking of getting to know each other, are you up for hanging out this weekend?" And that's how I transition to a message with the purpose of setting up a date. Notice that she mentioned the cake and the series she's watching. If it were in the past, I would send several more messages talking more about the cake and hundreds more messages talking about series. But that's not necessary and can become a detour that won't lead anywhere. You really don't need to wait more than 3 or 4 messages to make the invitation. The only case I consider delving deeper into topics through messages is when my intention is to already set up a more intimate encounter with the woman right on the first date. Because in that case, I want to generate more affinity and trust and trigger hotter triggers. So in that case, I'll need to exchange more messages. In other cases, for a regular date, you really don't need to extend the conversation so much. You can fall into the trap of purposeless messages and the girl can get bored. You don't need to let the girl get to know you better. That's just an excuse you mentally invent because you're afraid to take the next step. Because the goal of the encounter is precisely to get to know the girl. If a girl tells you, "I would like to talk more through messages, I don't know you well yet," respond by saying, "But that's the essence of the encounter, to get to know each other." And if she still resists after that or doesn't reply, there's a good chance she wasn't really interested and would never go out with you anyway. And so you saved your time and didn't have a bigger frustration later on. If she's interested in you, she'll accept to go out with you. Return the favor by liking, subscribing, and turning on the notification bell. I'll see you in the next video.